Chosen ones, have you ever felt like there's something deep inside you that just needs to come out? Like a weight sitting in your soul, holding you back from your true potential. Today, we're going to uncover something that you absolutely need to get rid of, right now. This thing has been draining your energy, stealing your peace, and stopping you from stepping into the life you were meant to live. You might not even realize it, but what I'm about to share could be the key to unlocking a level of freedom you've never experienced before. If you're tired of feeling stuck, weighed down by emotions that you can't shake, then you need to stay with me. By the end of this video, I promise, you'll know exactly what it is that's poisoning your spirit and how to release it for good. This is more than just another lesson. It's a life-changing moment waiting for you. Let's dive in and begin the healing journey together. So, what is this poison that's been silently weighing you down? It's something we all carry at one point or another: unforgiveness. That's right, unforgiveness can linger in your spirit, draining your energy and stopping you from living in true freedom. And that's why we need to talk about the power of forgiveness right now. Forgiveness is a powerful force. It's not just a concept. It's a profound act that can release you from chains that have held you captive for far too long. I know this may be challenging, and I understand that some of you might feel hesitant or even resistant to this idea. But if you're willing to open your heart and mind, I assure you, the freedom that comes from forgiveness is worth it. Now let's dive into the core of this message. Many of us carry around the heavy burden of unforgiveness, and it's essential to recognize this for what it truly is: a poison. Unforgiveness seeps into our souls, slowly consuming our joy and peace until we're left with nothing but bitterness and anger. This toxic mindset can impact every area of our lives: our health, our relationships, and our spiritual well-being. It can create barriers that prevent us from experiencing the fullness of life that we were meant to enjoy. But here's the good news. Today, we can start a journey toward freedom. Imagine breaking the chains of unforgiveness and stepping into a life filled with grace and mercy. This transformation is possible, and it begins with a radical choice to forgive. Let's take a moment to understand the essence of forgiveness. At its heart, forgiveness is not about the person who hurt you. It's about you. It's a decision to release the hurt and pain, letting go of the grip that past offenses have on your life. Forgiveness is an act of faith, a choice to trust God with your wounds and your future. Remember, Jesus modeled this perfectly. Even in his darkest hour, when he faced betrayal and suffering, he forgave those who wronged him without waiting for an apology or acknowledgement. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This profound example teaches us that forgiveness is unconditional and should not be based on whether or not the other person deserves it. It's a commitment to let go and trust God with the results. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the burden of holding on to anger and resentment. This act opens the door to healing, not just for ourselves, but for those around us as well. Now, while we're on the topic of releasing what holds you back, I have something powerful to share with you. If you're ready to let go of the financial limitations in your life and start attracting huge money effortlessly, this might be your only chance to tap into a shocking wealth secret revealed by a rogue NASA scientist. You don't want to miss this. Check the link in the comments below and start your journey to financial abundance today. All right, now let's dive back into the exploration. Now you might be wondering, how can we achieve this level of forgiveness, especially when the wounds are deep and the pain feels insurmountable? It starts by recognizing that forgiveness is a process. It requires humility and often takes time. It may not happen overnight, but every step you take towards forgiveness brings you closer to healing. Let's explore the steps you can take to embark on this journey. 1. Acknowledge the hurt. The first step in any journey of healing is to fully acknowledge the hurt you've endured. You cannot forgive what you do not confront. It's important to take the time to sit with your emotions and reflect on the experience that caused the pain. Ask yourself, what exactly happened? How did it affect me? Don't shy away from the raw emotions that surface. This isn't about wallowing in self-pity or casting yourself as a victim. It's about being honest with yourself. Allow yourself to feel the depth of your emotions, whether it's anger, sadness, or betrayal. By doing this, you give yourself permission to process the pain instead of burying it. Remember, true healing begins when we face the reality of what we've been through. Ignoring or minimizing the hurt only prolongs the emotional suffering. Acknowledging it doesn't make you weak. It's a courageous act of self-awareness and the foundation for real growth. 2. Make the choice to forgive. Once you've fully acknowledged the hurt, the next step is to make a conscious choice to forgive. This can often feel like the hardest part because it requires you to release the grip of anger and resentment you've been holding onto. But remember, forgiveness is not about condoning the behavior or pretending that it didn't hurt. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional shackles of that pain. When you choose to forgive, you're reclaiming your inner peace and deciding that the person or situation that hurt you no longer has power over your emotional well-being. This decision is a powerful act of release that signals your willingness to let go of the past. It's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. You may have to remind yourself daily that you've chosen forgiveness, but with time, you'll notice the weight on your heart beginning to lift. By letting go, you're opening up space in your life for joy, peace, and new beginnings. 3. Pray for the offender. This is perhaps the most difficult step, but it's also the most transformative. Praying for the person who hurt you can feel impossible, especially when the wound is fresh. Yet this act is essential for true emotional and spiritual healing. When you pray for someone who has wronged you, you invite God's grace and love to work within you, softening the hardness that bitterness can create. You don't have to feel ready to forgive them fully in your heart yet. Praying for them is the beginning of that process. It aligns your spirit with divine mercy, allowing healing to flow into the areas where pain and anger once resided. Jesus himself teaches us to pray for our enemies and those who persecute us, not because they deserve it, but because it brings freedom and transformation to us. With every prayer, your heart becomes lighter, and over time, you may even find compassion where there was once only anger. This is how true forgiveness takes root, not just in your mind, but in your spirit. 4. Bless the person who hurt you. True forgiveness doesn't stop at just releasing the pain. It goes a step further by choosing to actively bless the person who has wronged you. This can be incredibly difficult because it feels counterintuitive. How can we bless someone who caused us pain? Yet this act is a powerful testament to the depth of your forgiveness. Blessing the person who hurt you could mean speaking positively about them, refusing to engage in gossip, or even offering help if they're in need. It doesn't mean that you're excusing their actions or pretending nothing happened, but it does mean you're choosing to respond with grace instead of bitterness. It's not just about what you do outwardly, but also what you do inwardly. Choosing not to harbor ill will or replay the hurtful events in your mind is just as important. When you bless them, you are actively breaking the cycle of negativity, freeing yourself from the emotional weight that comes with resentment. This step shifts the focus from revenge to peace, from hurt to healing. In doing so, you reclaim your power over the situation and open your heart to more love and compassion, which benefits you far more than holding on to the hurt ever could. 5. Trust God with the outcome. Forgiveness is also about surrender, letting go of the need for justice or revenge, and trusting that God will take care of the outcome. This can be one of the most freeing realizations on the journey to forgiveness. Often, we hold on to anger because we want things to be made right in our eyes. But true healing comes when we release that need and allow God to work in His way. This step requires faith that God sees your pain, understands your hurt, and has a plan not only for your healing, but also for the person who wronged you. Trusting God with the outcome means accepting that you may never get an apology or see the person change, but that's okay. Your healing is not dependent on their actions or repentance. Instead, it's about giving control over to God and believing that He will bring justice in His time and in His way. By surrendering your desire for revenge or payback, you release a heavy burden and open your life to the peace and healing that God offers. It's a powerful act of faith that shows you trust not only in God's plan for your life, but also in His ability to bring about transformation in ways you might never expect. While this process may feel daunting, it is essential to remember that you're not alone. Many have walked this path and have emerged on the other side stronger and more resilient. As you embrace forgiveness, you will likely encounter challenges along the way, and that's okay. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a lifestyle choice that we must commit to daily. Moreover, we should recognize that reconciliation is the ultimate goal of forgiveness. While forgiveness frees you from the weight of resentment, reconciliation aims to restore broken relationships. It involves mending what has been torn apart and healing wounds that have festered. However, we must also be wise and discerning. Reconciliation requires the willingness of both parties. Sometimes, the other person may not be ready or capable of healing the relationship, and that's okay. In such cases, forgiveness still remains essential. Let's consider the story of Joseph in the Bible, who faced unimaginable betrayal from his own brothers. They sold him into slavery and left him for dead. Despite this, when Joseph eventually reunited with them, he chose to forgive. He embraced his brothers, wept with them, and even reassured them, saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Joseph's forgiveness not only healed his own heart, but also restored his family. This story illustrates the incredible power of forgiveness to heal and reconcile. As we reflect on this, it's crucial to understand the heavy cost of holding on to unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is like a silent killer that eats away at your joy and peace. It can manifest physically and emotionally, leading to stress, anxiety, and even health issues. It can also create distance in relationships, isolating you from those you care about and affecting your connection with God. Jesus warns us in Matthew 6:14-15 about the dangers of unforgiveness, reminding us that our relationships with others directly impact our relationship with Him. In addition, unforgiveness keeps you tied to the past, unable to move forward. It robs you of peace, joy, and ultimately, your destiny. Jesus came to give us abundant life, but unforgiveness can chain us to our pain and past mistakes. That's why forgiveness is so crucial. It's the key that unlocks the door to your freedom and healing. Now, you might be asking yourself, where do I even begin with forgiveness? How do I start to let go of all the pain? This is a question so many of us wrestle with, especially when the hurt runs deep. But forgiveness isn't an overnight decision. It's a process, a journey that begins with small but significant steps. Here are some practical and meaningful steps to help you on this journey toward healing and peace. 1. Face the pain. Before you can truly forgive, it's essential to confront the pain head-on. This step is about giving yourself permission to feel the emotions you've been holding inside. Acknowledge the hurt you've experienced, the disappointment, anger, or sadness that may have taken root in your heart. Sometimes, we're so focused on moving forward that we skip over this critical part of the healing process. But if you don't take time to face the pain, you can't truly release it. Writing down your thoughts and emotions can be incredibly therapeutic during this time. Journal about what happened, how it affected you, and what specific areas of your life were impacted by the hurt. You might uncover things that you didn't even realize were holding you back. By confronting the pain, you bring it into the light, and in doing so, you take the first step toward breaking free from its grip. 2. Release the offense. Once you've acknowledged the pain, the next step is to make a conscious decision to release the offense. This is easier said than done, but it's a vital part of the process. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what was done to you. It means you're no longer willing to let the past dictate your present or your future. You may need to remind yourself daily, or even several times a day, that you're choosing to let go. This might involve mentally releasing the person who hurt you by saying, "I forgive you. I'm letting go of the hurt and the anger, not for you, but for me." You are reclaiming your peace, and that's a powerful act of self-love. It can help to visualize the offense as a physical weight being lifted off your shoulders. With every decision to release it, you take a step closer to the freedom that forgiveness brings. 3. Engage in prayer. Prayer is a vital tool in the process of forgiveness. It's not only about praying for your healing, but also for the person who hurt you. I know this can be incredibly difficult. It's one thing to say you're willing to forgive, but to actually pray for the well-being of someone who caused you pain is a challenge on a whole new level. However, Jesus taught us the importance of praying for our enemies, and there's a deep spiritual power in this act. When you pray for those who have wronged you, you invite healing into your heart. You shift the focus from the hurt they cause to the potential for God's love to transform the situation. Set aside dedicated time to pray, asking God to bless the person who hurt you, and more importantly, to heal the parts of your heart that are still wounded. It may feel unnatural at first, but over time, you'll notice a shift, a softening of the hurt, and a gradual opening of your heart to true peace. 4. Practice blessing. Forgiveness is not just about letting go, it's about replacing bitterness with love and grace. This is where the practice of blessing those who have wronged you comes into play. To bless someone means to wish them well, to hope for their good, and to respond with kindness even when they don't deserve it. You don't have to start with grand gestures. Small, simple acts can make a huge difference in transforming your heart. This could mean refusing to speak ill of them, offering a kind word when you hear others criticize them, or even doing something as small as sending a silent prayer for their well-being when they cross your mind. Every time you choose to bless them instead of harboring resentment, you are actively healing your own heart and breaking free from the chains of unforgiveness. Remember, you're not blessing them because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. 5. Seek God's guidance. The journey of forgiveness isn't one you have to walk alone. In fact, trying to do it on your own can often feel overwhelming or even impossible. That's why it's so important to seek God's guidance every step of the way. Trust that He is leading you through this process, even when it feels difficult or unclear. Pray for wisdom in how to handle the situation, especially if reconciliation is possible. There may be moments when God prompts you to reach out or to extend grace in unexpected ways. And there will be times when you need to trust that He is working behind the scenes in ways you can't yet see. Remember, forgiveness is an act of faith, faith that God is handling the outcome, faith that He is healing your heart, and faith that He is working in the life of the person who hurt you as well. You may never get the apology or closure you think you need, but trusting in God's plan allows you to move forward with peace, knowing that He holds the final outcome in His hands. By following these steps, facing your pain, making the decision to release it, engaging in prayer, blessing the person who hurt you, and trusting God's guidance, you begin a transformative journey toward true emotional and spiritual freedom. Forgiveness is not just a one-time act. It's a process that demands courage, faith, and a deep commitment to your own healing. And while it may be difficult at times, the peace and liberation that await you are worth every step. Remember, forgiveness isn't just about the other person. It's about reclaiming your life and stepping into the fullness of what God has in store for you. In closing, I challenge you today. Take that step of faith. Choose to forgive those who have hurt you. Let go of the offense and trust God with the outcome. Embrace the transformative power of forgiveness and allow it to ignite your heart. The time is now to break free from the chains of the past and walk in the freedom that Christ offers. Let this message resonate within you, and don't let it fade away. Share it with others who may be struggling with unforgiveness, and remind them that healing and hope are possible. Together, let's build a community that supports one another on this journey of faith and freedom. Thank you for joining me today. If this message has touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement not only encourages me, but also strengthens our community as we walk this path together. Remember, you are chosen, and you are capable of walking in the fullness of forgiveness and grace. May the fire of God's love burn brightly in your heart, leading you to a life filled with peace, joy, and freedom. Until next time, take care and God bless.